Welcome back to the Matrix. Hey, does anyone know how to get any of the Dalek-Sec hybrid masks on the cheap? Like, don't even talk to me about the darknet, right? I got scammed there once, and it's never gonna happen again. I got a VPN, I got Bitcoin, just someone put me in touch with the right guy for that. I'm a man, I've got needs. Today, what's on the agenda? Doctor Who trivia, just like the previous 32 times. And for our first fact, roulette wheel go! In Doctor Who, Cornwall is an independent nation. Now this one's funny, because I'm not going to direct you to some obscure comic or audio play from the 1920s. It's not a reference to a throwaway line in a Radio Times comic strip. This one's actually in the show itself. Big thank you to Employee426 on Twitter for bringing this one to my attention. As in the Series 1 episode of Boomtown, if you zoom in on that newspaper cover, right down in the small print, on a high quality enough scan, it reads, Margaret Blaine also revealed that at one point Wales had nearly lost the project to the newly established independent Republic of Cornwall. Which would have been unthinkable. Yeah, so thank Employee426 for being the kind of person who reads for small print. We've got to talk about that, right? For those of you unaware, Cornwall is a small county in our southwestern tip. It's mostly moorland, a lot of fishing, a lot of mining, and a lot of tourism. If I could choose to be somewhere in the country right now, it would be Cornwall. Cornwall is one of the poorest areas in the United Kingdom with a GVA of 70.9% of the national average. That was back in 2015. Don't ask how I know these things, by the way. My knowledge extends to very particular weird areas, as you know, watching this series. And technically, Cornwall is a unitary authority. It's a very weird oddity. Since 1889, we've all just been acting as if Cornwall is an English county. But no, it never formally got annexed or taken over. And yet despite this, there are many, many people who actually do want Cornwall to become an independent republic. It's not just a gag, this is a real thing. Good luck to them. Them and the Scots, jump off of this ship.
God help me, I've gone native.
But by the time of 2005 in the Doctor Who universe, they're a very powerful republic, to the point where the United Kingdom, still in the EU, needs to trade with them. Is this the most petty fact I've covered so far? Absolutely yes. One production designer put that on there as a quick gag. No one was meant to see it. Maybe Eccleston would get a quick laugh out of it. But here it is. That's a creative decision. But what does this mean for us lowly Brits? Is independence the true way forward? Do we give too much power to unspoken traditions of the past? Margaret Slitheen seems to think so. I often forget that Margaret was an actual mayor, a representative of the people. For some reason, she didn't steal some new skin, she ran for office. A democratic Slitheen. She was the mayor of Cardiff, with tortured right underneath her nose. What is with Davis's distrust of authority? Oh wait, yeah, that'll do it. Now, my immediate reaction to this as a paranoid Brit is, do they have a military? Are they armed? The Doom Coalition story Beachhead tells us, yes they are, and they have an anti-terrorist division. Take that, Vord! Cornwall shows up a couple times in the Doctor Who universe, most of the time in the past. There's the Stones of Blood, and the Smugglers? But it seems that as suddenly powerful as this Republic of Cornwall was, they didn't last very long, as in the year 2017, Stegmore is specifically named an English seaside town. Hey look, I know, it's a contradiction. Either the Doctor's history is not up to scratch, or Nicholas Briggs did not know about this one tiny detail in the episode Boomtown. Both inexcusable. Maybe one day we will annex Cornwall, and take out that fucking smug-ass Doc Martin whilst we're at it. I'm done with your bad bedside manner, old man. Number 2. Give me a fact from my favourite episode of Classic Who. Don't you mess with me, Matrix. My true favourite episode of Classic Who is Within the Chase. The one with Dracula.
I am Count Dracula.
You heard the man. What's with Sam's weird vampire fixation? More like what's with Doctor Who's weird vampire fixation? In the final events of episode 4 of The Chase, Journey into Terror, Vicki is left behind as the TARDIS just materialises without her. Yeet. Look, Doc, I know The Chase is on. I know you're being rushed around a bit at the minute, but please please check if everybody is inside, especially the young girl that you kidnapped.
Is there a chance of going back for Vicki?
Yes, of course it's possible, but it might take months, even years.
But, Doctor, if we all work together, if Ian and I helped you, surely it's worth a try.
Yes, my dear, I know it's worth a try, but you don't think the Daleks are going to sit back and allow us to tinker, do you?
The team decides we have to go back for her. We left her with Daleks. And Frankenstein somehow. But what we didn't see was a hidden secret short story. The Target storybook. Its main theme is that it likes to inject events into stories that we know and love. Did you know the 7th Doctor went on 5 side missions in remembrance? Did you know that Adric and Nyssa took a trip to slave trade America during the events of the Visitation? What? Why? It seems that everything in Doctor Who is happening off-screen. And the short story Journey Out of Terror tells us the exact events that happen in between episode 4 and episode 5 of The Chase. Somehow Doctor Who and the Daleks arrived in the land of fiction, a couple seasons early. You mean if we share stories, we combine those forces? Exactly! You nurture it and it grows. When enough people believe the same thing, it can achieve existence. You're talking about a realm of make-believe, Ian scoffed. And by closing their eyes, joining hands and clicking their heels together, they wake up in the book Monsters from Outer Space. Immediately they meet Bunny the dog and Julia Jett, a young girl. Trapped in outer space without her parents, the Doctor starts really building up a bond with young Julia. The kind of vulnerability Barbara notices that he only shared with Susan and Vicki. Look, all I'm saying is this old man kidnapped every single one of you. Ian and Barbara created an environment that enabled him to do so. They didn't speak up. How many more young women will we let this monster groom? And it's midway through this story that Barbara starts to get angry and really worried that the Doctor is considering replacing Vicki. Remember, this is early Doctor. It wasn't long ago he was hitting cavemen with rocks. As both Julia and Bunny are given invitations to travel on the TARDIS. Whew, that's cold, Doctor. This poor girl, trapped on a Dalek ship? Hell, there's plenty of feckless young women out there. Plenty. Eventually, the Doctor realizes he can't take Julia with them, as she is a fictional character, and completely rooted to this plane. Could this be the first of many attempts the Land of Fiction makes to ensnare Doctor Who? Keep him there, by giving him exactly what he wants. Eventually, they get Vicki back, with ne'er an apology. Ian and Barbara decide, nope, we've seen enough, and they bounce as well. Please let me know if there's any other stories where the Doctor just left without someone by complete accident. It's so funny to me. And finally, fact number 3. Gwen almost left RHYS for an alien. Series 1 Gwen Cooper, she couldn't even stay faithful for 3 episodes. Many people have taken issue with Gwen Cooper's early characterization, leading her to cheat on her fiancé, RHYS. Although from the TV stuff, just from our knowledge, it's only Owen Harper, along with a series of suggestive looks to Jack. Oh, and that one brief thing, but that doesn't count because pheromone sex gas? I don't know. Look, I'm not rewatching that episode to find out. I didn't want to have to be the one to break it to you, but in Torchwood, these hoes ain't loyal. Cheating is a real-world, dark thing that real people do. And I get it might be disorientating for a Doctor Who companion to do it. Clara, Rose. But if you're not going to explore such subject matter in Torchwood, what show are you going to do it in? But the one constant of the Torchwood series, no matter what form it takes, is that Rhys Williams is a genuinely down-to-earth, good constant in the world. He deserves better than this. And hey, he gets his happy ending. After almost dying twice, going on the run and becoming a freelance member of Torchwood. Hell, he even had an excellent barbecue that time and invited everyone to it. I haven't listened to that one yet. I don't know if that's what happens in it. But I've been reading the Torchwood novels lately. The early releases. Border Princes is the maddest novel you can imagine. It's like trying to do an entire series worth of ideas in one small book. Everything from fish aliens to rift ghosts, the Dark Destroyer Abaddon, to one Torchwood member called James Mayer. And he's the one we're going to be talking about today. Sorry, Abaddon turns out is just really boring. I don't know, he's Satan's brother? But whew, this is one busy book. An alien from another dimension who integrated himself into the Torchwood team as if he'd always been there. Just like the Series 2 episode Adam. Oops, you did the same thing twice. You'd think they'd stop falling for this. James was a border prince. Sort of hosts of the rift. It was their job to inspect and understand everything that comes through it. Suffice to say, they weren't very good at their job. But James forgot he was an alien, genuinely believing he was an original member of the Torchwood team. I say, let him stay. He's not doing any harm. But when Gwen takes a trip out of Cardiff, she realizes that she has no recollection of James at all, as the gang have to come to terms with the fact that one of their best friends doesn't actually exist. It's that episode of Rick and Morty with Sleepy Gary.
You're real, Jerry. Remember our vacation?
Now this affected everybody on the team. But most of all, Gwen, who had not only been having an affair with James behind RHYS's back, but was ready to leave RHYS for him. Ugh. No wedding, no baby, gonna run off with an alien. Which isn't the strangest thing in this series. It's fair to say that a lot of ideas from this were lifted for the next series of Torchwood the year after. The episode Adam goes a lot further in some places, and actually is a lot tamer in others. Right, James may have been a catfish without ever knowing it, but he didn't sexually abuse the team. He didn't trick Yanto into thinking he was a murderer. And now I've just got this cartoony image of both of them trying to infiltrate Torchwood at the same time. Oh, hi, James. You remember me? Yes, Adam. I'm James. You remember James? In the end, James had to be killed. An alien bodyguard arrived in the hub and shot him to death, releasing him from his earthly body, leaving Gwen in quite the awkward predicament. I'd call it karma, but now we know that it's just the Fendal, so I guess I can excuse it. Hey, honestly, good luck to her. Sometimes we have to settle for second best. Third best. Fourth? Fourth best. But hey, it could be worse. You could marry PC Andy. Dump her ass, king. You won't be sorry with a Harwoods, Laurie. Harwoods. Wow, that was a terrible episode on all fronts. Thank you for watching. Special thanks to Tamara, Russ, and Fab for their generous Ko-fi tips and lovely words. You can get your name up here and check out all my other stuff by visiting the Ko-fi link below.